So today I'm going to be doing a book review of a book that I read in October and really liked, so I wanted to film a full review of it, and that book is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is an incredibly popular book on BookTube. I feel like I'm the last person to read it, but I'm really glad that I decided to read it in October because one, it was a perfect October read, and two, I really enjoyed it. So if by some chance you don't know what Vicious is about, it is about two college friends, Victor and Eli, and they are trying to create EOs, or extraordinaries. Extraordinaries are people that have some superhuman abilities, and both Victor and Eli are very fascinated with them, and they want to learn more about them and try to figure out how to create them. Something happens when they are in college and they have a huge falling out, and then 10 years later, one of them has vowed revenge on the other, and the story takes off from there. So when I usually do book reviews, I talk about the things I liked and then the things I didn't like, but because I really enjoyed this book, I want to talk about the things I didn't like first so that I can end the review on a more positive note, so that's what I'm going to do. There wasn't a whole lot about this book that I didn't like, but one thing that I didn't love so much was the structure of the story. So basically the story is told in alternating point of views and alternating timelines. It's told in the past and the present, and we follow a lot of different characters, and the chapters are really short, which I usually really enjoy, but because of the way the story is told in the alternating timeline, I feel like the story was a little bit stunted. Like, I would almost get enough to be satisfied with the chapter, and then the chapter would end and it would jump back to the present, or it would jump back to the past, and I just felt a little lost. It would always take me a couple pages to kind of get my footing back in the story before I was invested again. Part of the reason I didn't like it could have been because I was listening to the audiobook, but I don't really think so. I think it was just because of the way the story was being told. It did get better as the story went on, as we got closer to the end of the book, but I feel like that's because the timelines were coming together, so it was less stunted. But I didn't hate it, I just felt like, I don't know, it just felt a little disjointed to me. Another small complaint I had about the book is that I was dying for V.E. Schwab to explore the character of Serena more. She was kind of set up as this really amazing femme fatale type of character, and then she really only existed to fuel Eli's complex, which I just wasn't so crazy about. There were a lot of options for her to play around with that character and just really fully realize her, but I feel like she just was thrown in there as a pawn, basically, and I just didn't like the way her story went. And just in general, I felt like the book could have used more female characters. I mean, we had Serena, obviously, and then we had Sydney, who was an amazing character, but I felt like there was a lot of room for some really amazing female characters, and the book was just lacking that for me. Fortunately, I've heard that Vengeful is told from mostly female perspectives, or at least there's a couple of really awesome female characters in there, so I'm really excited to eventually get around to reading the second book. So those are really the only things I didn't love so much about it. Now jumping into all the things that I did love about it. First of all, the story was a ride. From start to finish, I was ready to go on the ride this book was going to take me on, and it did not disappoint. It was action-packed, it kept me interested the entire time, and I really enjoyed how it played out. Also, I think a very underrated aspect of this book is the friendship of Victor, Mitch, and Sydney. They become this really unlikely trio of characters, and you see how each of them grows as a person and as a character when they all get together and become friends. They had a really great dynamic amongst them, and all the scenes where they're together and there's just so much banter, it felt very good. I really liked reading that trio of friends. And just in general, I really liked the way that she explored her characters. I liked that their morality was always in question. I liked that there was no clear good or bad person. I felt like good and bad, good and evil, whatever you want to say, was subjective to each character, and they really truly never felt like they were doing anything wrong, which I love in characters. I love a good morally gray, not so great but not so bad character, and I just thought it was really well done. And I thought that played really well into the commentary of what makes a hero and what makes a villain, and how kind of subjective all that stuff is. I was just very impressed with how clever it was done. Overall, I cannot believe that I waited so long to pick up Vicious because it was such a solid story. I was so impressed start to finish. I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that I won't wait a really long time to pick up Vengeful because the story is still pretty fresh in my mind now, and I want to continue on and keep living with these characters and read more about them. I just really really, really enjoyed this, and I totally understand why it's so hyped. I understand why people love it so much, and I just thought it was really, really fantastic. So those are my thoughts on Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Let me know down in the comments if you've read Vicious and you have similar or different opinions to mine. I'd really love to know. Just as a note, of course, if you are going to talk about anything spoilery, give a good enough warning so that anybody that hasn't read Vicious and doesn't want to be spoiled won't be. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.